Let's talk about the boiling pot. What does the boiling pot have to do with marketing? Let me show you. What I have here is I actually drew a pot, but let me put a few drawings around it. Think about the money. Think about all the money that is spent on marketing, that you spend on marketing. You spend marketing on Facebook leads. You could spend marketing on print. You could spend marketing on Google AdWords, events. There's many, many things that you could spend your income on for marketing, but ultimately you're spending this money here. You're specifically spending this money to get new patients. And so if I actually show you here, which is, say these are your potential new patients, okay? And this is your pot of new patients. Think of this as like a pot, right? The new patients, you're spending money on Facebook leads for say, and these are dropping into your pot. All these leads, they drop into your pot. Imagine that. All the new leads from all the money you spend drop into your pot, your potential new patients. Now, what I always like to say about the pot is this, is that there's an actual water line in a pot, okay? I call this the water line, okay? On this water line here, anything above the water line is somebody who is moved to action, a potential patient who has moved to action that wants to do something about their health. The thing is, what happens though is many doctors are in business for a really long time. So say you've been in business 15, 20 years, even if you've been in business 4 or 5 years. You've paid for a lot of these leads. See all these leads that came into your pot? You've paid for a lot of leads over the years. The thing is that, I'll keep changing colors. The thing is that the leads, what happens to the leads is, many of them drop to the bottom of the pot. So imagine you did a Facebook campaign, okay? And on that Facebook campaign, over a month, you had like 75 people fill out that they wanted something, or that they wanted data, or they wanted to handle their health. But only 10 of them answered the phone, right? So 75 responded. Think about that. They respond by giving you their name and their email and their phone number, whatever it is, their contact information. This is not unheard of for 75 to respond and give contact information. But then you have to call them and you have to find them, right? So what happens, exactly what happens here is some of these come in and they immediately, the person, maybe by the time you get a hold of them or by the time you start calling them or whatever happens, they've taken a Tylenol or they forgot about it. Whatever it is, they drop to the bottom, meaning they're below the waterline and they're not going to respond to your reaching out. So when you buy leads, the name of the game, obviously, is that you call them as soon as possible, you get your hands on them as soon as possible. Studies absolutely show that after the first 5 minutes when a lead comes in, you have a 400% less chance of getting that lead after 5 minutes. Because think about it, they have a problem, they go, I think I want to solve my problem, and they hit a link, they Google, they Facebook, whatever it is, they hit something, and then they scroll on over to another page, whatever that page might be, and then they start shopping for clothes on Amazon. And they totally forget about it. And then your office calls, 6 hours later, 2 days later, they can't even remember clicking the ad because they just jumped, boom, they bounced right over to Amazon. However, if somebody calls them within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, ideally immediately, they're on Amazon and they remember clicking that ad. And so the name of the game is, when you're spending money, is when the leads drop into the pot, is to grab the leads. Here's your staff here, right? Your staff's job is to grab the lead before it starts dropping to the bottom of the pot. See how that is? Because what happens is these leads come in, they're interested, they get distracted, and they drop to the bottom of the pot. And if your team is not literally grabbing the lead as soon as it drops into your pot, they drop to the bottom. So bear with me on this one, because this is called the boiling pot. It's not called the pot, it's called the boiling pot. So let me tell you about the boiling portion of it. So these leads, imagine this, at the bottom, mind you, you've been in business 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, okay? This would be your database, okay? Some people have CRMs where they store their database. Some people have them on Excel spreadsheets. Some people literally just have them in their scheduling system. But you have a database of people that you paid for that came into your pot that for whatever reason, they weren't responded to soon enough. How about somebody that arrives and decides not to do something? Whatever reason, dropped below the waterline. And I'm going to name this line the waterline. And drop to the bottom. So now you go, okay, down here, you could have 1,000 people. You could have 5,000 people. This is not unheard of databases with 5,000 people down here. Some people have 10,000 people. Doctors have been in business for 20 years. They could have 20,000 people down here. Think about this, okay? 20,000 people in their database. These are people that they paid money for at some point. So think about it. They paid money for these people. They paid money, they went into their pot, certain ones got grabbed out and were processed and became patients, and the rest of them hit the bottom. So then what a doctor says is, I need new patients. That's what we hear. If I just had new patients, I could grow my practice. Okay, but it is pure insanity to continue to go out and buy new patients and drop them in your pot if your reaction time is slow, or what you do to grab them before they drop below the waterline is broken. Do you see how you could run Facebook ads? You call these people a day or two later, I'm going to tell you 95% of them already dropped below the waterline and they went down here. And somebody would say Facebook doesn't work. And I would not say Facebook doesn't work. I would say Facebook works. It's what's ever happening inside your office to grab the lead before it goes below the waterline that's the problem. But either way, most doctors say if I just had new patients, all of my problems would be solved. My practice would grow, I'd have greater income, I would be able to support my family and go on vacations. Everything is solved with new patients. That's the common misconception. So let me tell you this. These are new patients. New patients are somebody that is new to your database. Is somebody that is new to your database. That's the key. This, when you buy leads, you spend money, you are getting new people to your database for your team to grab. And now, if you've been doing this over years and you spend $10,000 a month, you're spending $120,000 a year, and you've done it for 10 years, you've spent $1.2 million. Think about it. In 10 years, you could have spent at $10,000 a month, which is $120,000 a year, which is 120K times 10 years is $1.2 million. You could have spent $1.2 million over the last 10 years to get new patients, to find that 90% of them hit the bottom of the pot, went below the waterline. So what do you do? And this is where the boiling pot concept comes in. This is your flame on the bottom of the boiling pot. Think of this as your flame here. Okay? This is your flame, okay? You want that flame to be high. But what is a flame? I'll tell you. Your flame is, I'm going to write it over here, is your organic, Instagram, and Facebook. You're just posting pictures, posting pictures, posting pictures. Your biggest bang for your buck on your flame is emails. I know people say emails are dead, emails don't work. Emails, I will tell you this right now, is your biggest flame generator, and I'm going to tell you why. What happens with emails? Well, first of all, let me tell you if you have a high flame. Let me tell you. If you have a high flame going down here, which means you're posting on Instagram, hey, here's wins from our patients. You're posting on Facebook, here's wins. Hey, look it, we were out at a charity event. We're helping to pack food boxes. You're just putting good news out, good news out, good news out, okay? That's part of your flame, just putting good news out. Email, okay? You have an email campaign to all of these people. They're all in your database. You have all their emails, I'm sure. And you send emails out about health and wellness. Hey, it's time during the holidays. Let me show you how you can cook in such a way that you're not eating such heavy foods. It'll increase your energy. Whatever it is, it's help. You're sending a lot of emails out, information emails, and in those emails, there is some asking. So for instance, you could send 3 emails in a row with educational materials, whatever it might be, and then there's an email that says, hey, we're having a patient appreciation day. Anybody out there who wants to come in and experience whatever it is you might do, come on in. See, so you're giving, asking. Because you buy leads and you throw them in, 90% of them hit the bottom of the pot. What you need is, you need to get these leads above the waterline. That's the game. Get them above the waterline. If you keep your flame going, and this is what I mean by keeping going, you continue to post on Instagram, on Facebook, you continue to talk about your practice everywhere, in church, the grocery store, you're just talking, because the chances of somebody in the grocery store having been one of these leads that fell to the bottom, they answered an ad to your office, but didn't respond or come in, but they've heard about your office because they've seen you on Instagram, Facebook, they're getting emails from you. Now they hear you talking to somebody in the grocery store clerk, about how what you do in your office helps people. See, all of this is the flame. So this is just public conversation is another way of doing this. You could call this all promotion, right? You're promoting what you do and how you help people in your practice. This keeps the flame going, and what happens is you're going to notice these begin just like I cook vegetable soup, so I'm going to use vegetable soup as an example, okay? When you turn the flame up too high on vegetable soup, what happens is the stuff starts pushing to the top, okay? If it's too low, all the vegetables hit the bottom of the pot. If you turn it up too high, it starts pushing everything up to the top, up onto that water line, because you need these leads to bubble above the water line so your staff can grab them. Do you see that? They grab them. They call in. They happen to be seeing somebody saying, I know you work at the blah blah's office. I need to come in. Because the one thing I can tell you for sure, anybody who you bought over all those years had a problem. They had a back problem, a neck problem, a knee problem. They had some kind of problem. We understand what the medical system is like. The majority of these people have been in the system. So we know for sure the chances that they solve the problem are pretty small. So when these start bubbling back up above the waterline, the chances are they still have the same problem. So the question arises, you want me to do it again?
Yes, just one more time.
Okay, ready? The chances are that they have the same problem. So think about this. You've already paid the money, could be $1.2 million in the last 10 years. Get that number. You really got to wrap your head around the number. If you look at how much was spent on marketing, and remember, if you do referral games and you're giving out gift cards, that's part of it. The manpower sending a team out to do an event on the weekend, the paying that manpower, pooled that money, I would guess the guys have spent over 1.2 million, or gals have spent that much on their marketing to get these leads over the years. But here's the deal. When you pay for leads, you're paying for this. If you do Facebook, here's the public. I'll just do a bunch of dots. Here's the public. You're paying big bucks to get to all of these people. Only these many people actually have a problem and are ready to even have a problem that they want to handle. So you're paying all this money to get these few here. Okay, well, How much money do you have to pay to post something on Instagram or Facebook? Nothing. You just got to do it. How much money do you have to pay to put emails together, an email campaign, and send it out? Not much, a staff member's time. How much does it cost you to have public conversations about what you do in your practice to promote? Not a lot. How much does it cost you to promote to your staff on how phenomenal the practice is and what they can do to help people? Because they will promote outside the office. Almost nothing, because you already bought the lead. The flame costs so little money to keep the flame going, and you know for sure 100% of these people have a problem. Because remember, you paid $1.2 million over the last 10 years to find a market segment that had a problem to put into your pot. So you know everybody in your pot has a problem. So yeah, I look at this and I say, okay, sure, we continue to need leads. I'm not saying do not go out and buy new leads, but don't have the misconception that the reason your practice isn't growing is because you don't have new leads. The reason your practice isn't growing is because over the years, the staff member responsible to grab the lead before it went below the waterline was broken. Either that or nobody was doing it. It could have been either way. Or was inconsistent, okay? That is essentially the problem, is your leads get below the waterline before somebody can capture them and get them in the office. But it's not lost. This is not a hopeless case. They're sitting in your database. And literally for pennies, you can post on Instagram, you can post on Facebook, you can send emails out. You don't even need a fancy email thing. You send emails out, some wins with the patients, right? You can be having public conversations, promote. Turn this flame up high, because there's enough down here to bubble above the waterline to grow your practice. So this is what I call the boiling pot concept. And I suggest for a very low budget amount of money, you turn that flame on and you boil that pot and you get those people to the top and you help more people and grow your practice.